Alright, what's going on, everybody? It has been a minute since I streamed, probably about 2 or 3 months. Jeez, it's August already? Yeah, definitely on the maybe 3 or 4 months. But free agency is here. My roster is pretty up to date. We're going to keep up with where everybody goes in the next 6 hours. Lonzo Ball has agreed to a 4-year, $85 million deal with the Chicago Bulls. CEO of Clutch Sports, Rich Paul, tells The Athletic. John Hollinger says, the Bulls and Lonzo really hit it off during the 180 seconds they got to know each other and quickly agreed to a deal. Per source, veteran guard Garrett Temple will be going to the New Orleans Pelicans on a 3-year deal with the first 2 years guaranteed, David Aldridge reports. It looks like it's a sign and trade agreement per Waj for Lonzo Ball. Alright, so let's trade Lonzo for, oh, I had already released Temple, so just add Lonzo to the Bulls, and then we sign Temple. Which makes this a double sign and trade, right? Because pretty sure Temple was a free agent. Keith Smith reports 7 seconds ago. Hearing Furkan Korkmaz to the Cavs could be a thing. Cavs looking for young wing shooting, and Korkmaz is only 24 years old, despite 4 years in the NBA. I don't think that he's going to re-sign with the Sixers. They do have Matisse Thybulle, who's probably looking at a bigger role, and if anything, they could also just re-sign Danny Green at a much cheaper rate. So I released Korkmaz to the free agent pool, kind of anticipate him not coming back. Shams reports Jimmy Butler signs a 5-year max extension with the Heat, or is expected to when the league year opens on August 6th. Will Barton and the Nuggets agree to a 2-year, $32 million deal, so it looks like he got a raise after opting out. Brian Robb reports, keep an eye on the Bulls being active on the trade market now. They will need to move some salary to make way for Lonzo Ball's new deal. Thad Young and Tomas Satoransky will likely be available. I think that was expected. Garrett Temple is going to the Hornets on a 3-year deal with the first 2 years guaranteed at $5 million per. And he's a Bakanrat Rajan. All right, how do you? Hold on, where did it go? Baton Rouge. Sorry, Baton Rouge native. So he gets homecoming. I hope it's not just for him. That would be wild. A 35-year-old guard getting a 3-year deal. Free agent guard Tim Hardaway has reached an agreement to re-sign with the Dallas Mavericks on a 4-year, $72 million deal. Okay. What is 85 divided by 4? 21.25. That's pretty steep. I'm not going to do the... I'm not going to figure out what it is per year. I'll just let the contract details come out and then I'll adjust later. I'll adjust my microphone position because I'm probably not talking into it. Is it a 5-year deal or a 4-year deal? It's a sign and trade, right? Four-year, yeah. The Bulls are sending Tomas Satoransky, Garrett Temple, and a second-round pick to the Hornets or to the Pelicans for Alonzo Ball. Okay. So we'll send Sato over there. Okay, time for some reaction. Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense for the Bulls. Obviously, they've been targeting Lonzo for a while. This takes him off the board for teams like the Knicks. Kobe White had shoulder surgery. He's out for 4 to 6 months. Which is going to cut into the 2022 season. I expect he'll probably miss like the first 6 weeks of the season or so. And he was their starter for the second half of the year. Lonzo represents an upgrade over Sato. Albeit he costs double the money, and I don't know if that's necessarily going to be worth it. At age 24, certainly you would hope that Lonzo is not a finished product, but if he is, that's kind of scary money. But obviously, he can absorb a ton of minutes, and they can probably just get by with the other guys behind him. Zach LaVine also does a fair amount of ball handling. I like Javonte Green is restricted, and I like the theory of him as his backup, as they're both very similar makeups, similar bodies, great athletes. Green needs to work on his shooting ability. I don't think Makoka's going to be back. Let me just cut him. Patrick Williams. I don't know if I like this 84 3-point rating. Might have to adjust that. But I think Valentine's a free agent. He'll probably be back though. Probably similar to money what he got. $4.5 million. I can see him getting like maybe half that, maybe $2 million. They need. Yeah, all right, so I guess the other big story for the Bulls free agency is what's going to happen with Lowry Markkanen. I expect this to be a sign and trade with another interested party. He doesn't really make... You can't play him and Vucevic in the same lineup, which is why he's at center, even though he was not effective as a center. Definitely a 4 rather than a 5. Yeah, I'll be interested to see where he goes. Let's hit the Twitter sphere. Jarrett Allen has agreed to a 5-year, $100 million deal to re-sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sources tell The Athletic. Free agent forward JaMychal Green has agreed to a 2-year, $17 million deal to return to the Denver Nuggets. Sources tell The Athletic. Deal includes player option in year 2. So this is basically the same contract that he got in the offseason. Let me put JaMychal Green back on the Nuggets. I anticipate this means that Paul Millsap won't be back in Denver. That is incorrect. Okay. Looks like Temple slots in as the starting 2 guard in New Orleans. Or he's either the starter or the backup for Walker, who I suppose could be primed for a larger role. It looks like Sato is right now the starting point guard. That could change depending on free agency. Zion could also be the starting point guard, but then they'd have a major hole at the 4. Maybe they go with like Brandon Ingram as a 4, or Josh Hart, or Marshall, or whatever, because they are loaded at the 3 at the moment. Granted, Hart is a restricted free agent, not necessarily coming back. Yeah, I don't hate this. Who else was it? Tim Hardaway Jr.? 72 divided by 4 is $20.5 million. Yeah, he just gets like his standard raise. I don't think this is. I don't know. He's like always been overpaid by just a tick. But I think like for a starting 2 guard, $20 million is probably what you'd want to be looking at for a player of his tier. Maybe not. Maybe if he was like 82, 83 overall. Because you can make an argument that he should just be like a 6-man or something. Which he was for most of the year. Free agent center Boban Marjanovic has agreed to a deal to re-sign with the Dallas Mavericks. Free agent Mike Conley Jr. has agreed to a 3-year, $68 million deal to return to the Jazz. Sources tell The Athletic. Alright, let's get Boban back on Dallas. Which I'm a little surprised at because they had a coaching change. I don't know how into... I'm sure the team loves him, but I don't know if Jason Kidd's going to use Boban the same way Rick Carlisle did. Well, that might be a good thing because I was not a huge fan of Carlisle's rotations, let's say. I changed Blake Griffin back to a 4 now that he's not with the Nets. He might resign with the Nets, but for every other team, I think probably safe to call him a 4. Marquise Chris is my sleeper free agent out of everybody, but he'll probably just re-sign with the Warriors. He missed all of last season with a torn ACL, I think. So they'll probably throw a minimum contract his way. And given how much help they need at center, I think that would be a solid use of their cash monies. Jared Million, $100 million man. Let's update that contract. It's a pretty significant raise. Oops. Oh, I can just do that, huh? Mike Conley. I think we all knew he was going back to Utah. And that's a pretty good rate. 3 years, 68, so a little under 23 million. Ugh. Let's say it's declining. Something like that. I don't know. All right, that's Shams. Let me check Lodge. Free agent center Nerlens Noel is returning to the New York Knicks on a 3-year, $32 million contract. Tom Thibodeau keeps his rim protector. Free agent guard Alec Burks has agreed to a 3-year, $30 million contract to stay with the Knicks. Okay. So the Knicks take care of business. Keep their own guys. I think that's pretty dope. Both those guys played very well. Definitely earned this kind of stability, I would say. Burks was on a minimum contract 2 years ago with the Warriors. Or close to it. And then played on a 1-year deal this year. So he's probably very happy to lock up a 3-year deal. And basically the same story for Nerlens Noel. He was also on a minimum deal with the Thunder for a couple years. Took 1 year, $5 million with the Knicks, and obviously that paid off. And I like him more as the starter than I do Mitchell Robinson. I don't think Mitchell Robinson is starting material in the NBA. He cut his fouls a bit, but still, I would say not in the same class as Nerlens as a defender.
How do you feel about that Lonzo signing?
Lonzo signing was pretty expected, I would say. he's a good handcuff to Kobe White, or Kobe White's a good handcuff to him since he's more of a scorer, and Lonzo's a pass-first player. And he probably makes a lot of sense next to Zach LaVine, since Zach LaVine is ball dominant. Ball is a pass-first player. LaVine only had like 5 alley-oops this year, so look for Lonzo to get a couple more of those out of.
I feel like we've been waiting for this for months.
And he's a good defender, which is again what the Bulls ideally need. Obviously, he's an upgrade for Sato, although he costs twice as much as Sato did. So there's that. And the Bulls lose Garrett Temple. They'll need to replace. They'll find there's another backup guard. I'm sure they can get. Maybe Denzel Valentine just takes that role as the backup 2 guard. Although he isn't really the defender that Temple is. Let me see who the options are. Maybe Langston Galloway would be a good target for them. But other than that, it's kind of slim. Yeah, there ain't not a ton out there. I think Etuan Moore used to play for the team. Maybe they bring him back.
Valentine really bothered me when he played.
I guess Malik Monk would be.
I really don't like him.
The most upside guy they could get. Valentine is like a weird theory, because he's basically a 3, but he's undersized as a 3. And I think he played a little 4. Like, he's a thick 6'4", 220. I think he showed more versatility earlier in his career, pre-injury. But he can't finish at the rim at all. He's a great shooter off the dribble. But, I mean, he shot 37% from the field last year, only 33% from 3. Like, I personally think that you could just do better. He's going to be 28 next year. They threw $4.7 million at him last year, kind of based on the theory of what he did in 2020. But this was 2021 was the second worst year of his career, production-wise.
He's one of the worst defenders I've ever seen. He needs to try harder.
Well, I mean, I think he's just athletically limited is the problem. And he didn't shoot well enough to... He regressed as a shooter last year, so... I don't know. I wouldn't give him anything more than the minimum. I treat him like a 3rd string. Which is that's where I have him ranked. I definitely prioritize Troy Brown over him, I would say. Even though Brown isn't a great shooter. You can see he wasn't too much worse than Valentine last year. Alright, back to... free agent Cameron Payne. Did what? Probably re-signed. This just disappeared off my Twitter feed. Where'd it go? Alright, free agent Cameron Payne has agreed to re-sign with the Phoenix Suns in a 3-year, $19 million deal. League sources tell Yahoo Sports. Okay, fully expected him to re-sign. Ditto for Chris Paul. Chris Paul was reported before free agency as being like a 3-year, $90 million deal. I'm just going to make that change. Based on the way things are going, I don't anticipate him switching teams. Seems like a lot of players are staying put. Alright, well, I'm all caught up.
This seems like a lot, haha.
Oh, I'm not caught up anymore. Kelly Olynyk has agreed to a $37 million deal with the Pistons. $37 million, 3 years. I'm seeing this from Dime. Oh, somehow. All right. This was on Waj's feed 18 minutes ago. I don't know how it missed it. Twitter's not. Twitter's not agreeing with me.
I love CP3, but I don't know if I can justify giving him that kind of money. I was hoping he would take less so they can sign some depth.
I think they're fine. I think $30 million is reasonable for a player of Chris Paul's character. He's making the same money as Devin Booker. Actually less, because I didn't update the contracts for the Suns yet. Right? Yeah, he's the second highest paid guy on the team. And again, like, I don't really know what they'd be looking to, like, even if he took like $25 million, they still wouldn't be able to, that wouldn't affect their cap all that much. They're pretty locked into what they're doing. You know, they have a solid core. Jay Crowder's locked up. Campaign just came back. Yeah, like, they just got Shamet to fill a hole at the 2. They'll probably re-sign Torrey Craig. And then everybody else, like, everybody else that they were looking to replace was already on a minimum contract anyway. That's basically the players, the caliber of player they're looking to get. They need a replacement for Dario Saric, who's probably going to miss the season with a torn ACL.
I was hoping he would take like $20 million.
I don't think $20 million for Chris Paul's realistic. I mean, Lonzo Ball just got $21 million per, you know. If Chris Paul takes $20 million, he's going to whatever team he wants. You know, he would have gone to the Knicks or something. They basically just need a backup center, and center is by far the deepest position in free agency this year, so they will definitely get somebody. In fact, they'll probably get multiple players. They could just get, they could re-sign Aaron Baines, who played well for them 2 years ago, on a minimum deal. I think that would be a good signing for them. even if he isn't the lights-out shooter that he was 2 years ago with the team on just like a minimum
Yeah,
deal.
they'll be alright.
As a defense guy, big body, just a backup to Aiden. You could do worse. Treat him as like your third string and get another guy too. Let's hit refresh. T.J. McConnell has agreed to a 4-year, $35 million deal to stay with the Pacers. His agent Mark Bartelstein tells ESPN. I think that re-signing makes a lot of sense, as they don't have another point guard. Obviously, they loved him down there in Philly, so another point guard comes off the board. 4 years, $35 million, so $9 million per. Or a little under that. Big raise and job security for him, so he's got to love that. Okay. 35.2 divided by 4 is 8.8, so we'll start the numbers there. He's basically signed for the duration of his prime. Solid. You know, if T.J. McConnell is your backup point guard at $9 million per, I think you're pretty happy with that. Uh-oh, 3-year deal and a sign-and trade for Kyle Lowry to the Heat, as Kyle Lowry just posted that he is, in fact, going to the Heat. I presume that will be for Goran Dragic. And other things. It was reported Lowry and Precious Achiuwa. Or sorry, Dragic and Achiuwa. It would require more than that, because the Raptors probably are going to let Dragic go, is my guess. Let's tentatively start here, or I guess not. I guess I'll wait for a second. I'll wait for the dust to clear. There's no way this guy's a point guard, right? I downloaded this from like a draft class. Milano, Benton. Yeah, small forward. Maybe he's a point forward, but I'm not going to start him.
Yeah, he is.
And I mean, Bembry I could move to the 2. David Johnson. He's also a point guard, yeah. Yeah, I mean, once Dragic moves on, their depth chart's fine-ish. If he moves on, maybe they play him at the 2. We'll see.
I think the Raptors are on to something though, long defenders and playmakers. Some of their fans think Siakam is going to be an MVP candidate.
Sure. Those fans can think whatever crazy stuff they want. Alright, let's get Lowry on the Heat, rather than fixing the, Raptors. Okay, that looks fine. This is a pretty good top 6. Ariza is a free agent. Let's hit refresh. Free agent Torrey Craig has agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Pacers. His agent Dave Spahn and Austin Brown of CAA Sports tell ESPN. Okay, so
Trey
we just talked about
170M extension. Not sure if you got that one already. Torrey Craig to the Pacers.
We just talked about Torrey Craig probably re-signing with the Suns, but it looks like he is off the board. Now they will have to bring somebody back, or bring somebody in, as he was essentially their backup 4 in the playoffs. And the Pacers seem to love this kind of player. In Craig, they signed O'Shea Brissett late in the year, and he played really well. They used Doug McDermott as a 4 throughout the year. I'm going to change Isaiah Jackson to a 5. I think Brissett is a non-guaranteed, so he's sticking around. So between the 3 of these, well, so Sabonis is probably going to end up playing the 5 also. I think that's worth noting. They'll probably trade Miles Turner this summer. So yeah, I think between Brissett and Craig, they're pretty set at the 4 from like a bargain standpoint. TJ McWarren can also play there a bit, and maybe he will, given the way the rest of their depth chart's looking. What was the rate on Craig? 2 years, $10 million. Duncan Robinson has agreed to a 5-year, $90 million contract to stay with the Heat. Deal's largest ever for an undrafted player. Also includes an ETO after the 4th year. So 4 years with a player option, essentially. $90 divided by 5, $18 million per for Duncan Robinson. The Heat were also very wise to get this out of the way early. Rather than deal with another team's offer sheet. We'll do the Butler extension later. Or I'll probably just do the Butler extension when he officially signs it in August. Phoenix Suns All-Star guard Chris Paul's agreed to stay on a new 4-year deal that could be worth as much as $120 million. Okay, so not 3 years 30, 4 years 120. That makes sense. That obviously takes Chris Paul into his age 39 season, I want to say. And if you guys know me, I have no issues with this. Chris Paul's worth the money. And I expect him to age very well. If he goes the route of Steve Nash and like his back gives out or something like that in the last 2 years, well, I mean, you got to the finals, and so you're just paying your star player a nice security blanket.
That $25 million won't be anything in 4 years.
Wonder if this means that Chris Paul goes into the Hall of Fame wearing a Suns jersey, given that he'll have spent 5 years with the team. Trae Young signs a $170 million extension. Not sure if I got that one already. Well, technically that hasn't happened yet because the rookie extensions, while free agency started at 6 p.m., the rookie extensions technically aren't allowed to happen until midnight. So while I mean Trae Young's extension is obviously a foregone conclusion, hasn't happened just yet. Only 5 players made more three-pointers in their first 3 seasons than Duncan Robinson. Of the 530, he hit 533s in his first 3 years. He only hit 10 as a rookie, as he was signed in like the last week of the year. So the 5 players that have hit more threes in their first 3 years: Buddy Hield, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Klay Thompson, and Luka Doncic. So had Robinson played an actual rookie season, he would easily be number 1 on that list. He averages 200, math is hard, 265 threes a year. I remember the days where the record was 218 by like John Starks or something.
Crazy to think about how these guys like Buddy Hield and Robinson are technically some of the best shooters in NBA history.
Well, I mean, Buddy Hield, not so much. Duncan Robinson is definitely one of the best shooters in history. Not just because of his volume, but his efficiency. Whereas Buddy Hield, I guess 41% for his career for Hield. Duncan's at 42% though, and like Hield was much better in his second and third year in the NBA than he was in his last 2. He's only been at 39% over the last 2 seasons. And really his overall shooting fell off. As he only shot 41% from the field this past season. Which isn't to say that Hield's a bad shooter. I just don't consider him in the same tier as like Klay Thompson or the other guys that I just listed before. According to Spot Track, Chris Paul has earned $299.9 million in his career, with another $120 million seemingly incoming. That would take his career earnings to almost $420 million. President of the Players Association, I got that bag. CP3's deal will take him through his age 36 to 39 seasons. Only 6 players have averaged more than 7 win shares per season at age 36 to 39, and only 1 broke 10 per year. Those 6 players are Karl Malone, John Stockton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Reggie Miller, Robert Parrish, and Tim Duncan. I consider Chris Paul to be in the John Stockton tier. And if anything, he's better than John Stockton was at the same age. John Stockton at 36 was already playing like 24 minutes a game. He wasn't the same player. Or I technically stand corrected. He played 28 minutes a game as a 36-year-old. But this was a drop from...
John Stockton had no left and it got exposed as he got older.
Stockton played 35 minutes a game as a starter. This was also a different time period where the benches weren't as deep. But he was more or less splitting time with... Like he played 35 to 38 minutes a game for the bulk of his career until age 34. He got hurt at age 35 and missed 18 games during their second finals run, and after that he never broke 30. Actually, he broke 30 minutes a game at age 39. But I digress. Like, my point is, he was on a significantly lower
hope you're well.
minute load. And he only averaged like 11 to 12 points a game over the last like 6 years of his career. And Chris Paul's obviously a better player than that. So yeah, as long as Chris Paul avoids like major injury, I don't see any issue with him playing until he's 40. You know, Steve Nash would have been able to do that if he didn't. Well, he'd always been playing with kind of nagging injuries. Once you lose your back, you can't really. Steve Nash couldn't play at the end. Chris Paul has, he does get nicked up with injuries, but none of them are
Agreed.
like
Steve
debilitating.
Nash would have done that if not for his back.
Hey, what's up, Greg? All right. Is free agency over? The Spurs using their cap space on a 6'7" knockdown shooter, but not the guy named Duncan Robinson, is an absolutely crushing disappointment. Who'd they sign? Oh, did I put a Olynyk on the Pistons yet? I did not. I think that is a great signing for them. can joke about them signing all the centers, but I think he's actually more of a 4 than a 5. I think you play him next to Isaiah Stewart, and then move Jeremy Grant back to the 3. Or you just treat Olynyk as like your 6-man and have him back up the 4 and the 5, since Sekou Doumbouya is garbage, and well, I guess they really don't have anything at the 5 behind Stewart. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'd pencil Olynyk in as the starter. I mean, as the backup. Maybe they treat Stewart as the backup, and the rest of these guys are two-way garbage. I don't know.
Spurs signed Doug McDermott.
Oh, I think McDermott's a great signing for them. Yeah, we'll do that. I love how the formula just drops Olynyk by 4 points for making that little swap. How many games did Isaiah Stewart start? $14 games out of 68. I think we're gonna still count him as a backup. Do that for the moment. Yeah, I think that makes sense, and I think this is a very sleeper signing because of the Kade Cunningham addition. Did my Uber get delivered? My Uber Eats might have been delivered 30 minutes ago and I didn't get a notification. When was it delivered? Oh no. Alright, yeah, I don't, I tell them to leave it outside my door. But this is the first time I ever didn't get a notification for it, so give me 1 second. It's probably been sitting there for like 30 minutes. Alrighty, we are back. Time flies when you're having free agency. Alright, where were we? Let's check Woj again. Kyle Lowry, 3 years, $90 million. With the Miami Heat. I'll just Kelly Olynyk's contract in a sec. We still don't have details on the Lowry sign and trade yet, right? Okay. Kyle Lowry stay getting $30 million. I think he made $30 million on the last contract, extended for $30 million. And now 3 years, $30 million. Which is about the going rate for an all-star caliber point guard. People were bitching about Drew Holiday getting this kind of money, if I recall, right? What does Holiday get? Holiday gets less than this, and people were bitching? No, looks like I have to update his contract. He gets 30, starting at 31, 33, 36, 38. Maybe the 38 will be a little rough once we get there, but they just won a championship. They're fine. Who knows? With the way that inflation's going, and all these players are getting paid anyway, late, like, I'm sure $38 million for Drew Holiday is just going to be fine by the time we get there. All right, I'm going to break open my dinner. Part of the reason I'm not on cam today is I knew I'd be scarfing this down. Alright, refresh again on Waj. Nothing. What was Olynyk? 3 years, $37 million? That's a steal. Alright, who's left? Oladipo's going to miss like the first 2 months of the year. But I didn't throw the injury on him because you can't sign injured players, so... I'll wait to, you know, rather than me have to just like undo it. Just to be down with my roster or something, just note that you should injure him or something if you want to be realistic. Spencer Dinwiddie, is the, I guess, the next big point guard on the board, him and Derrick Rose. We'll see how accurate the Rose rumors to Chicago were. I don't think they need to bring him in, though. They have Kobe White. Even if Kobe White's hurt. I also don't think they need him, like... They have Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball. The minutes aren't going to really be there for him. Devontae Graham is restricted. He's probably just going back to Charlotte. I don't think Lou Williams is going to be back with Atlanta based on their acquisition of DeLon Wright. Dennis Schroeder, hey, he might still get paid. Everybody else is right now. But I don't know by who. Maybe the Pelicans. Hopefully not the Knicks. Reggie Jackson would be a sleeper signing. Somebody mentioned Spurs signed Doug McDermott. Alright, I didn't see that on Waj, so let's head to Shams. Alright, Shams. Free agent Sterling Brown has agreed to a deal with the Dallas Mavericks. Sure, I guess. Yeah, I guess they needed a backup three. I would start Luka at the three and make Finney Smith the backup, but what do I know? Also, the fact that they traded for Moses Brown, picked up Cauley Stein's option, re-signed Boban. I'm making Porzingis a 4. Now, that was one of the things I did not like about last season. I don't think Porzingis can realistically play the 5. Not full-time anyway. Treat him the same way you treat like Anthony Davis, in my opinion. I.e., don't turn him into a stretch 5. Actually utilize him. Cough, cough, Luka. Free agent Doug McDermott. Part of that is also Carlisle, but free agent Doug McDermott has agreed to a 3-year, $42 million deal with the San Antonio Spurs.
Sterling Brown to the Mon.
A great pickup for the Spurs. He replaces DeMar DeRozan. Going from whoa, now that I think about it, going from Doug McDermott, from DeMar DeRozan to Doug McDermott, that is a huge upgrade. Like, on paper, you know, DeRozan is a all-star caliber player, but McDermott's just probably a better scorer, I would say, at this point, since he is actually a good three-point shooter. Also, I only have 3 badges on him. I guess I didn't do the badges for the Pacers, but he should have like 13 badges, not 3. What the fuck do I got on him? Gold catch, flex, slip. Yeah, I might have to do some McDermott badges while I'm live, because I don't agree with any of that. Let me see. Did 2K update his badges and I didn't? Am I behind the curve, or let me see. No, they still have him at 3 badges also, so I'm just as bad as they are. Yeah, I didn't update it all. He probably should have a corner specialist. Off the top of my head. Yep. let's side quest into Doug McDermott. Okay, just check his spot up data. I'm fine leaving his catch and shoot at goal. Doug McDermott, definitely higher than bronze for slippery off ball. Looks like he was top 15 in coming off a screen.
Who do you reckon the Knicks are gonna go crazy for?
Their own guys. So far. I'm just praying it's not Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, Shams was my source for the Sterling Brown acquisition.
Yeah, we didn't get a rate on it. I'm assuming it's like for the minimum or something. He wasn't that good with the Rockets last year. Oh, Silver. He's probably going to get difficult shots, pick and popper, Deadeye. I'll throw a green machine on him. Hot Zone Hunter. Hot Start. Pump fake. Steady shooter, sure. The rest, I'd have to do my tendency number crunching. We're checking pick and popper. As I'm assuming he had some number of rollman responsibilities this year with the Pacers. Well, apparently not. So we'll pass on that. Deadeye, I can probably check.
Think KP's best suited as a forward, face-up player for sure.
Doug McDermott. Yes. Doug McDermott's getting Deadeye. What degree? 4 of... Yeah, just bronze. I think it's reasonable. So I threw Deadeye on him. Green zone, start. All that. And beyond that, maybe he gets like Teardropper. That's another one where I'd have to check his some of the stats that I crunch. To get the rest of these. Maybe this brings him up to an 82 overall. Let's see. No, but I'll take the 10 badges over 3 for sure. And let's adjust his contract. million per. Alright, back to Twitter. Nothing on Shams. Back to Waj. Backup center Boban Marjanović's new deal with Dallas will be for 1 season, a source said. That will give him 3 seasons with the Mavs, who will have his full bird rights next summer. Oh boy. Free agent Mo Harkless has agreed to a 2-year, $9 million deal with the Sacramento Kings. He resigns. Ooh, whoa. All right, this is big. Jeff Green has agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Nuggets. That is big. I wasn't expecting him to leave the Nets. So that definitely cements that Paul Millsap won't be back. Maybe he goes to Brooklyn. I'm sure in the next 2 minutes it'll be reported that Paul Millsap resigns with the Nuggets on a minimum or some shit like that. But all right, that is a big blow to the Nets, who kind of don't have much in depth right now behind their top guys. They drafted 5 players, and that basically fills out their entire bench.
Jeff Green, great piece.
Back to DeAndre Jordan as a starter. Oh boy. And Mo Harkless re-signed. I think this is a solid addition for him. Did I cut him? Oh man, oh ye of little faith. Alright, I gotta re-add him. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you, 2K. Who do I cut? Oops. I'll cut him, but that doesn't change much since he's a 2-way. He's restricted, so he'll be back. Are they trading De'Aaron Fox? They're making Halliburton a 1. Like, they can't trade Buddy Hield, it feels like. He's not a free agent, right? Who the fuck are they free? Okay, I guess we're cutting Holmes. Tristan Thompson's kind of in the same tier. They drafted this guy as insurance. He's on a non-guarantee. He's on a non-guarantee. Yeah, so there was a reason why I cut Harkless. Like, it was between him and Holmes, but I feel like Holmes might be moving on. He wants more money than what the Kings are willing to offer him. But I like Harkless as a backup to Harrison Barnes. Also, Harrison Barnes might be spending more time at the 4 next year, if they can part ways with Marvin Bagley. So yeah, there will be some playing time available. This was 2 years, $9 million, I want to say. Yeah, 2 years, $9 million. So hey, he even gets a raise. Check out the Nuggets. Jeff Green backing up like Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. That's insane. I guess backing up Aaron Gordon, if we're counting like JaMychal Green as a 4, not a 5. Maybe we're counting JaMychal Green as a 5. Bull's never really going to get actual minutes on this team. Oh no! Oh no! They got both Jay Greens in the fucking league. No. All right, at least they're both not Ja Greens. The one's a J.E. Green and one's a J.A. Green. We haven't had that problem since Josh Smith and who else teamed up? Or no, it wasn't Josh Smith. It was the same team though. It was the Hawks. Was it Marvin Williams and somebody else? Like Marvin Williams and Marcus Williams or something? I can't remember. Too many bad players ago. Ooh, Furkan Korkmaz has agreed to a 3-year, $15 million deal to stay with the Sixers. Shows what I know. So I think that means that Danny Green's going to be moving on, though.
He's going to provide some much-needed experience and skill behind Ak and MPJ.
Yeah,
Something they could have really done with against Mike.
I'm going to cut Korkmaz. I'll cut Danny Green. And add Corky. If I can find him. He's here. Am I blind? Hold on. Snell Harris, Ellington Jackson. Okay, he's just not as good of a shooter as I thought. That's fine. He's pretty good off the dribble, though. As far as the contract, 3 year, like $5 million per for Korkmaz, great deal. In fact, you know what? I'm sorry. I should have never thought that Danny, like that, the Sixers were going to let go of him because I forget that Daryl Morey is their GM and that he would properly evaluate a guy like that. He's going to have to force Doc Rivers to play the guys he wants to play by not signing the players that Doc wants to play. But yeah, I don't think the Sixers need to bring back Danny Green. If he wants to come back for the minimum, sure, they'll take him. But I feel like he'll probably just move on. With the Lakers, makes sense. I don't know. We also don't really know what's going on with Ben Simmons because realistically, he's a 3. They need another playmaker to replace him, though, and Lowry is now off the board. I moved Shake Milton to the 2, although he was the backup point guard for much of the year, and cut George Hill's contract isn't guaranteed for another month, but there's no way they could bring him back for $10 million per, so I just preemptively did that. And I think the Springer signing, like counting Milton as a point guard, like just for depth purposes, doesn't make sense. I think Maxey established himself as the backup 1 by the time the playoffs rolled around. So I think long-term Milton is a 2, which is kind of how he profiles anyway. So I like this for Philly. I think they're okay going into the year with Simmons as the point guard again. Like, I think maybe their best bet would probably be swapping him for like the Aaron Fox or something. And let the Kings deal with it. We've got two good young wings. Let's adjust his contract. And I expect Dwight Howard will go back to the Lakers based on a report. Bassey, I think, is basically Tony Bradley. So I think that was a pretty good pick for them. Whether or not he gets a two-way deal or a standard contract remains to be seen. I kind of want to see him on a two-way. Just so that they have the space to like bring in more established guys, because I don't think Bassey's going to contribute much this year. And I like the Springer edition also, getting him 28th. He's basically Frank Ntilikina with at the appropriate draft position. His offense isn't really there, but he can definitely defend. And he can defend ones and twos. You know, just you got him 28th instead of 7th or 8th or wherever the Knicks got Frank. And it's also makes him a reasonable hedge for when the team moves on from Simmons. At least they'll still have a capable backup that they can hope to, you know, they hope they have the next like Pat Beverly on their hands. But anyway, let's head over to the Raptors because they re-signed Gary Trent Jr. to a 3-year, $54 million deal. And somebody said something in chat. Let me see. He's gonna provide. Jeff Green's gonna provide some much-needed experience and skill behind AG and MPJ. Something they could have really done with against my Suns this past postseason. Experience won out. Well, yeah, the Nuggets. I don't know if it was necessarily experience for the Nuggets, but they didn't have. They had nothing to match up with Chris Paul. The Jamal Murray not being there basically caught up to them. And Ayton, I think, did a good enough job on Joker. Ayton really established himself in this playoff run. Gary Trent at $18 million per is my math is right? 54 divided by 3. Yeah, $18 million per. What did Tim Hardaway Jr. get? $72 million? 70 or 4 years, right? Yeah. So Gary Trent got the same money that Tim Hardaway Jr. got. I guess they like him. They're kind of in this same tier. Like Gary Trent Jr.'s like less proven. Like technically more upside. He's only 22. He did average 15 points last year. 38 starts, 15 points in 31 minutes. But I don't know. It's only 3 years. I gotta be talked into that one, at least at that value. That's definitely not like a bargain or anything. That's his market. Where's Twitter? Let's hit that refresh button and see what else happened. Free agent Zach Collins has what? Free agent Zach Collins has agreed to a 3-year, $22 million deal with the Spurs. His agent Mark Bartelstein of Priority Sports tells ESPN. Zach Collins. Oh boy. Oh, I didn't see this. Jeff Green got a player option. Also, Jeff Green, this is the first time in like 6 years he didn't take the minimum. God bless him. My mind is blown. This Zach Collins. San Antonio be doing San Antonio things. Clearly I don't know what I'm... They know more than me. I never doubt the Spurs. Their track record is obviously impeccable when it comes to guys like this. Maybe this is like the perfect signing for them. I just don't understand. Like, I did not think that he had any type of market. 3 years, $22 million for a guy who's been hurt the last 2 years. So we're gonna put him back at the 4, which, like Olynyk, it's like boosts his overall by 4 points. Like, I guess he's only 24. So I mean, as long as you believe he's over the injuries, I guess this is like fine value. They do have Lucas Samanic, who's kind of the same player, but hasn't really played much in his first couple of years either. I don't know. Keldon Johnson might be playing more of the 3 this year. I don't know. That's I would say this is the shocker of the day, easily. Free agent Mike Muscala has agreed on a 2-year, $7 million deal to return to the OKC Thunder. His agent tells ESPN. 2 years, $7 million over 2 years for Mike Muscala versus $7 million per for Zach Collins is wild. Also, Mike Muscala definitely settling here. Maybe he anticipates that like there just won't be a market for centers. A lot of guys on the board. A lot of the guys who were signing today are not centers. We should note that. I think a lot of teams expect to get these guys at the minimum, so it makes sense for Muscala to avoid that fate. I mean, he's better than Derek Favors. All right, what are we doing? I think we're cutting Charlie Brown. He's on a non-guarantee. Everybody else, Gabriel Deck's on a non-guarantee, but he actually played well. Everybody else is a rookie. He's on a non-guarantee also, but he's very tradable. Restricted. On the team for now. Could be on the move. In fact, likely on the move. And I like Muscala back with the Thunder. He's a second center for them. And obviously he played really well with the team last year. Basically his breakout season. And at that value, he would be very easy to trade moving forward. This might be the steal of free agency so far. Free agent Trevor Ariza has agreed to a one-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, his agents tell ESPN. That is big. Assuming it's for the minimum. Ariza returns to the Lakers. He also played for UCLA, so a second stint back with the team, or his hometown team, I should say. I think it's safe to say Jared Dudley won't be back with the team. No Caruso news yet. There's Westbrook. Both of these guys are free agents. Like for roster considerations, we're going to consider them both re-signed at like the minimum. He's on a non-guarantee, but that shit ain't getting picked up. He's a restricted free agent, and he is unrestricted. Curious to see if the Lakers consider Ariza a 4. I mean, right now, Ariza might be the starter. You might be looking at him as the starting 3 and like LeBron as the starting 2. You know, LeBron can play wherever he wants to play. Alright, let's head back to Shams. Free agent Alex Len has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Sacramento Kings. Uh-oh. That's not good for Richaun Holmes. Free agent Bobby Portis has agreed to a 2-year, $9 million deal to return to the Bucks. So a slight raise. He was making $3.8 million.
Are you on PS4?
I missed that, but I think, yes, I am on PS4. We'll eventually get a PS5. I've not been in any rush to do so. I got the $100 thing where I get to upgrade to the PS5 version. And I just never got the PS5. but maybe in the next 2 months. We'll see. I don't really play games anymore. It's part of my thing. Like, I'd just be spending $500 to upgrade my spreadsheet, because that's basically what the 2K roster is, right? It's just a spreadsheet. Supporters resigned. And Alex Len to the Kings. We already had to make room for him, right? For Harkless. Let me check their contracts real quick. Okay. Justin James, Chimezi Metu, and Damian Jones are non-guaranteed, although Jones, I gotta check, might have been guaranteed last month. Yeah, James is guaranteed on 8/15. Jones guaranteed on 8/9. Okay, so that's coming up. Just got the dates wrong, and Metu non-guaranteed until 8/9. Then 50% guaranteed until 12/1. All right. So we got to make one of these guys disappear. Technically, this trade also hasn't been consummated, the one for Tristan Thompson. But I think it's, well, no, they like him. I remember reading a report. Where was this guy drafted? In the first round, or? In the second round? Oh, okay, I know what to do. Cool, yeah, so this guy was a second rounder, he's getting the two-way. And that frees up the room. And between Thompson and Len. Looks like they will not re-sign Holmes. Okay, looks like we are caught up once again. Uh-oh. Let's see. Free agent guard Wayne Ellington has reached an agreement with the Los Angeles Lakers on a one-year deal. Ellington previously played for the team, and obviously they need some backup shooters. He gets a chance to win a championship. Sterling Brown's deal was 2 years, $6.2 million with the Mavericks, so let's make that adjustment. Oh wait, there he is. Haha. David Nwaba is signing a 3-year, $15 million deal to sign to stay with the Mavericks. I'm on the Mark Stein is breaking a lot of these minor guys. The Mavericks are nearing a deal with Knicks free agent Reggie Bullock. That would be a good pickup for the Mavericks. The Knicks would lose their starting two guard. Although Alec Burks can definitely slide right in. And the Mavericks essentially would get a backup for Tim Hardaway Jr. to kind of fill out their rotation. Can we get a sign and trade and get back Trey Burke? Or Jalen Brunson? That would be ideal. God. Well, things are not going super great for the Knicks. I'll say that. We have basically nothing in the backcourt at the moment. Kevin Knox reprising his role as backup 2 or backup 3. Start Burks at the 2. It's kind of the way things are going at the moment. And Nwaba got $5 million per. Pretty good haul for him after he showed he still had it after tearing his Achilles 2 years ago. Obviously, the Rockets kind of had to choose between him and Sterling Brown. I think that means Daniel House's days are numbered. Could also just go back to using Tate at the 4. Free agent Dwight Howard is returning to the Lakers. His agent tells ESPN. I think we all knew that was coming. I don't know where the Lakers are going to get shooting from, but and the Hawks re-signed Solomon Hill, not at all unexpected. Alex Len already played with the Kings, right? Alex Len. Yes, in 2020. He played 15 games. Oh, the Len signing is actually for less than what I put. It's for $7.6 million. Math is hard. Well, let's take a look at the Lakers. Just they added a bunch of guys. I think they have to start Marc Gasol for like spacing purposes. But like, are we really penciling in Wayne Ellington as a starting 2-guard in 2021? He technically started for like the Pistons most of the year, but that's not what I would call exciting. The average age of this team is through the roof. finishing my food. Sorry, guys. All right. Well, I'm mega caught up on free agency. Kind of wasn't anticipating that to be the case, but I guess I'm just moving players around. I already done my work prior, so like I'm not like figuring out or what have you. My ratings are pretty done. By pretty done, I mean like all the way done. Every player on my roster is re-edited. At least their attributes. There's a handful of players that need updated badges, in my opinion, but I'd say like half the players probably have edited badges. Who was a second rounder? I'm gonna two-way them. I think it's Scotty Lewis. Yeah, Scotty Lewis was the 56th pick. Let's two-way him. Get Devontae Graham back on the team. No, don't remove him from the roster. That would be fucking tragic. I heard the Celtics were interested in Isaiah Thomas. Delhi went back overseas. There's been basically no chatter on Drummond whatsoever. Alright, back to Twitter. Oh shit. Evan Fournier has agreed to a 4-year deal with the Knicks, worth as much as $78 million per. Watch ESPN. Free agent Derrick Rose has agreed to a 3-year, $43 million deal to return to the New York Knicks. Alright, so the Knicks get their free agent signing. And they bring Derrick Rose back, taking him off the board and presumably making him their starting point guard, which he was during the playoffs. I assume Elfrid Payton won't be back. Fournier's a good get to replace Bullock. And, I mean, given how well Alec Burks played, Fournier's basically a better version of Burks. So solid fit there. Rose gets $14 million per, essentially. Pretty good. They traded Dennis Smith Jr. and a second-round pick for him. And now they basically have their starting point guard locked up for the next 3 years. Let's do like that. What was it? 4 and 78? 19.5 million.
Harden KD. Team option on 4th year.
Free agent Nick Batum has agreed to a 2-year deal to return to the Los Angeles Clippers. Did I release him? I did not. Okay, he can stay there. The Knicks have $7 million in cap space remaining. I guess worth noting, Derrick Rose's contract takes the Knicks out of the Dennis Schroeder running. Thank God. So we're down to Dinwiddie and Schroeder among the top guys. I say top guys for Schroeder kind of loosely. That is interesting, to say the least. I ain't with it, though. I think we can, for the purposes of him being on the Grizzlies roster, I think we can make Eric Bledsoe a point guard. And I'll do that to him. Alright, we're assuming that Achua is going to the Raptors, though that hasn't been made official yet. They don't have a power forward. They are a little barren at the moment. I'm liking the Knicks squad. So we basically need to get... Well, we need a backup point guard. Either that's going to be Vildoza, or we need to... We probably just need to get Gibson under Vildoza. Your depth chart is fine. And they're still missing a whole bunch. I don't know. I'm going to pencil Cauley Stein as the starter for the moment. Cam Burke's technically a free agent, though I expect him to re-sign. Maybe Achua changes that equation. We are once again assuming that Dragic heads over there. Okay. Those are cleaned up. Whoa. Alex Caruso agrees to 4-year deal with the Bulls worth $37 million. That's Yeah, that is a payday. I think he's worth that money. I don't know if he makes sense for the team. And that obviously hurts the Lakers a lot. He was basically their Patrick Beverley. But good to see him get paid. He, again, came up from the G League, carved out a role in a championship team, and now he gets $30-something million to... and I want to be clear, I'd rather have Alex Caruso than Kobe White. Yes, Kobe White might get better. He's never going to be the defender that Alex Caruso is. And on like a winning team, I think Caruso is a lot less replaceable, whereas Kobe White, I have my doubts that he'll, gunners typically aren't valuable commodities on championship level teams. And realistically, we're looking at, if they don't trade Kobe White, we're looking at Caruso as like a backup 2 as well. Yeah, the part where I said he's a great handcuff with Zach LaVine too. Like, the Bulls wanted to improve defensively at the guard position, and they got Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso to play next to Zach LaVine. There are many better handcuffs out there, I would say. Probably means I'm converting Dosunmu to the 2, which I think is fine. And Caruso, I guess, slots into Garrett Temple's minutes. If we assume that Ball's slotting into Sato's, but then also filling in for the injured Kobe White. And Lowry Martinen still, his fate is still to be decided. Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso together again, Waj reports. As yes, they did both play for that Lakers team as rookies. And hey, I forget, the Bulls still have Daniel Tice as a free agent. They have bird rights on him. Free agent center JaVale McGee has reached an agreement with the Phoenix Suns on a one-year, $5 million deal, leaks sources tell Yahoo Sports. And as stated before, they are without Dario Saric for all of next year, so they get their backup big, their backup for DeAndre Ayton. Pretty good value.
Where did Derrick Rose go?
Derrick Rose went to the Knicks. 3 years, $43 million. They need a backup 4. Unless Jalen Smith's going to be that guy.
What about Isaiah Thomas?
He might go back to the Celtics, but they'd have to make room for him. I'm going to finish my scouting on Decimo. How many ads am I going to get hit with on this YouTube video? Jesus Christ. Okay. Corey Joseph going back to Detroit on a 2-year deal worth $10 million. Looks like he could start at the 2. Would be my guess. Or he's going to be treated as the backup for Cunningham. Maybe Cunningham starts at the 2.
This guy is emoji fire, emoji fire, emoji fire, emoji fire, emoji fire, emoji fire, emoji fire. He is better than 2K at editing. He has everything correct. No emoji build cap.
Wow, Siri, that was something. But, thank you. Yeah, I can see a world where I move Cunningham to the 2. I think we'll start by putting Joseph at the 2, though. He did start next to Killian Hayes when both were healthy last year. Do I have anything? He's actually being maxed out. Oh, okay. Let's see if that fixes it. Yes. And that's 2 years. 10 million. That is, of course, a deal more in line with Joseph's abilities. Okay. Ooh. We got some spicy nuggets from Waj. Okay. Cody Zeller has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Portland Trail Blazers. His agent tells ESPN. Probably means the end of Enes Kanter's tenure with the team. I guess I don't think that Carmelo Anthony would be back. So let's release him. And free agent Daniel Tice has agreed to a 4-year, $36 million deal to join the Rockets. Per sources, the Rockets will use the Oladipo trade exception and work a sign-and trade with the Bulls to get Daniel Tice. That's a great pickup for the Rockets. Tice is one of the better free agents on the market. And he slides into the role that Kelly Olynyk had. Kelly Olynyk played very well next to Christian Wood. I anticipate Tice will do the same. Rockets get their starting 4. They have a solid team. No top end talent, but they have 5 starters, some reasonable backups, a lottery 2 guard who's the feature of the team, and a holdover from the last team that they're going to have difficulty moving. Just kind of mucking things up, at least blocking Green's path to stardom at the moment. I'm going to slide this guy to the 5. Four years, $36 million, so $9 million per. And Tice gets his payday. Whoa, speaking of paydays, Reggie Bullock has agreed to a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks. I was not expecting him to get $10 million per. Oh, sorry, this is a 4-year deal, right? Right? Is it a 4-year deal? Yeah, 4 years. Sam Quinn of CBS writes that the Pelicans have been suspiciously quiet since trading Lonzo. They're one of the last real power players here. Got to be up to something. Power player meaning cap room. So if I had to guess, they end up with Dinwiddie. Fuck. What the... I wonder if Bullock starts over Finney Smith. 6'6", 205. 6'7", 20. He's a little small. I think it's fine. Yeah, they wouldn't have added Sterling Brown for $3 million per if they didn't see him as a backup. All right, Dallas. Dallas looks all right. Kind of the same team though. Like, they basically just swapped out Josh Richardson for Reggie Bullock. Yeah, and other than that, they're the same team, which is a solid team, but you know, they were angling to get Kyle Lowry or Spencer Dinwiddie to play next to Luka. They did not get a playmaker. They're doubling down on surrounding Luka with shooters, it looks like. If I'm the Clippers, I mean, if I'm the Mavericks, I have to like my odds of having a better record than the Clippers, though. Given that Kawhi's probably going to miss most of the year. As they don't really have much beyond Paul George. They could re-sign Reggie Jackson. But this is not a lineup that is really inspiring fear in many as like a contender. I have to think that Kevin Love gets bought out and joins the Lakers. As, again, from UCLA, played with Westbrook. They've been linked together for a while. Obviously, Love has played with LeBron before. I think that would make a ton of sense, which is all dependent on Love giving back a whole bunch of money, which he may not be willing to do. Then at that point, and certainly they need shooting. He would just slot into Markieff Morris's role, I think, pretty easily. I think I'm more inclined to consider Ariza like a 3 on this team. And I'd probably be moving Tucker to the 2. That was my guess, but there's still a lot to be done. Really, Tucker might be the backup point guard on this team also. 6'4", 230. Yeah, those are... Russ is definitely a good mentor for him. I'll say that. Whoa. PJ Tucker has agreed to a deal with the Heat. Alright, the champs lose their first piece. That's obviously a big addition for the Heat, as they needed a 4, as I mentioned about an hour ago. He's effectively the Jay Crowder replacement that they were looking for last year. Alright, it's a good looking team. I think we're moving Chua to the Raptors if I can make room. Where was Benton drafted? I'm probably going to two-way him. Delano Benton was drafted 46th. Yep, seems like a two-way candidate. $2 years and $15 million for PJ Tucker. Second year is a player option. It's essentially the deal that he wanted from the Rockets, but they would not give to him. I am not sure what I feel about the Raptors right now. This is a depth chart if I've ever seen one. Gorgie Deng has agreed to terms with the Atlanta Hawks in a one-year, $4 million deal, sources tell The Athletic. It's a great pickup, as Onyeka Okongwu is out until January. So they get a backup in the interim and one that can stretch the floor, which is something that the Hawks lacked at the center spot. Collins is a restricted free agent and likely returning. Alright, looks like the band is all back. Apparently Corey Joseph has a player option. Okay, so in the Tucker fallout, I guess we have a pretty reasonable opportunity for Jordan Nwora in his second season. Thanasis is a free agent. He'll probably be back on a minimum deal, is my guess. Bryn Forbes is a free agent. He might be on his way elsewhere too. He's due for a significant raise. Jeff Teague is a free agent. I anticipate he'll be back because short of Coach Bud, I don't think anybody else really wants him. Any power forward options for the Bucks to replace Tucker? James Johnson, I think, would be a solid pickup. Maybe bring back Ilyasova also. Yeah, I think those are my two picks. The Knicks re-signing Derrick Rose probably means they are out on Colin Sexton, thank the Lord. Things have been quiet for them. Kevin Love, well. I sort of like Boston, but they're a playoff team, but I wouldn't consider them contenders. They're going to have to add like 7 minimum guys or so. I'm guessing that Kendrick Nunn won't be back. At least not at the money he was hoping for. Okay. Feels like the news has slowed down to a crawl, so I'm going to take a little bit of a break. But that was the first 3 hours of NBA free agency. Magic didn't make any moves. That's kind of weaker. Nothing. Oh, God.
Kukoc.
Emoji kissing face.
Iggy to the Warriors hasn't happened yet. I just anticipate that it will. Let me hit my refreshes, and then I'm going to call it. Waj got nothing. Shams got nothing. Mark Stein got nothing. Oh, you know what? I should be following Chris Haynes too, because he's breaking a lot of this stuff. Trey Lyles reached an agreement with the Pistons on a 2-year, $5 million deal. Ugh. Oh, how do I... Some of these guys were waived yesterday and I didn't do it. I'm trying to think, what the fuck is... what is Lyles good at that I can find him quick? Someone cheat them. Is he went to Europe, right? Oh no, he was in the G League. Okay. Otherwise I would have cut him. Alright. Looks like Lyles was legit the only one I missed. 2 years and $5 million. A reasonable pickup. Slots in as their backup 4. Again, Doumbia has been their backup 4 the last 2 years, and he has been awful. So.
Big fan of you work.
Thank you, thank you. 6 to 32. extension in? I cannot. Okay. If you guys want to know how to play around with the cap or with contracts when you're limited by what the roster will allow you to do, here's how you fix that. Delete. Go to contracts and max out the salary cap. Then go to your team's roster, go to the player that you want to edit the contract of, go to the contract, and voila, you can now exceed what you were allowed to do before. What does that look like? Oh no, fuck that. I'll get the exact figures once they're official. So we edit, and then you go to export. And then we get out of Dodge. Go back to my roster file. Go to Trey Young. Edit. And then we're going to import the other Trey Young. And voila, his contract is there. Why does he have an extension though? Oh, that fucks it up. Alright, hold on, let me back out. Okay. As long as it doesn't fuck with the display. I wanted to say contract 6 years, basically. Sometimes when you have the extension applied, it fucks with that. And I think this is just... When you give a guy a 6-year deal, it automatically marks one down as an extension, as you can't exceed 5 years without an extension in the current CBA. So that's that. Ooh. Devontae Graham is signing a 4-year, $47 million contract with the Pelicans via sign and trade per Waj. So there goes Dennis Schroeder's last opportunity. New Orleans will send Charlotte its 2022 lottery-protected first-round pick. Oh, God damn it. Alright, who are we cutting? Didi Luzada is restricted. Josh Hart is restricted. I think we're just making Herbert Jones a two-way. And who knows, maybe Lozada becomes the other two-way as well. Oh, whoops. Okay. I don't hate this. I think Sato and Walker make some sense in the backcourt. Probably start Temple next to Graham. Could, in theory, also start Sato at the 2. They need to get another 4. They're doing what they gotta do. Alright, it looks like Dennis Schroeder's going to end up as a backup. Unless he goes back to the Thunder. Washington? Washington has been linked to Spencer Dinwiddie. So Denver on a 1-year deal. Re-sign with the Lakers. Sign with the Knicks for 1 year and $7 million. The Hornets need a backup now. Yeah, it looks like Schroeder gonna get left out in the cold. Free agent Austin Rivers has agreed to re-sign with the Denver Nuggets on a 1-year deal. That makes a lot of sense. How do I make room for him now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, they do have room. I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. I said I was calling this like 3 times, but every time I do, something goes down, so... Okay, I think we are mostly done for day one. So I'm just going to submit my roster. It is incomplete. Still a lot of adjustments that need to be made. But if you want to check it out, that is the file. I need to do things like adjust the year's pro for last year's rookies so that they're not running for Rookie of the Year with this year's rookies. I still need to adjust a lot of contracts. Everybody from last year I still need to convert to 2021, or 2022 I should say. I've only done that for a handful of teams so far, and that's going to take like, honestly, that's probably like a 5-hour job. Changing the contracts is very time consuming. Alrighty. Yeah, it looks like this shit already has 83 downloads. I don't recall. This is my first update already, so. Or I must have updated it before as well, otherwise it would be 0 updates, right? Okay. Well, either way. 440K? I know I don't have 35 updates. This resets every now and then, the update total. It's more like 235 updates I've made to that. But 430K means it's the 4th most downloaded roster. 2 of these are glitches, and my roster's better than this one. No offense to that user. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching, and stay tuned for tomorrow where we do day 2 of free agency. This was your Real 2K Insider, and I'm signing off.